At my stepfather's funeral, his daughter got on the mic and said, "We all know who deserved more of his love." Everyone looked at me. I was the one who took him to dialysis, paid his bills, sat with him through chemo. I said nothing until the lawyer revealed the will left everything to me. His daughter screamed. She manipulated him. I played a video of him saying, "She's the only one who is here." Her silence was the real eulogy. When Roger died, I thought the hardest part would be losing him. I didn't think it would be fighting the one person who should have mourned him the same way I did, his own daughter. My name's Dana. I'm 35, and I live in Dayton, Ohio. That's where all of this happened. I never expected to be the one left standing in the middle of this mess, but I guess life throws stuff at you when you least expect it. My mom married Roger in 2016. I was already grown. At first, I didn't really care either way. I figured it was just her second chance, and I hoped he'd treat her better than my real dad did. My dad left when I was 10 and never looked back. So when Roger came along, I didn't have high hopes, but I kept an open mind. Turned out, he was a good man. Not flashy. Not loud. Just dependable. He'd show up early to family dinners and help with the dishes. He taught me how to do my taxes the right way. Helped me fix a busted water heater in my first apartment. That kind of stuff. The quiet, useful kind of love you don't really see in movies, but that means a lot when you've had your share of men walking out. My mom was happy. Happier than I'd ever seen her. And then she was gone. It was sudden. A stroke. I was at work when I got the call. By the time I got to the hospital, she was already gone. Roger was sitting in the corner, crying with his face in his hands. It broke me. Monica, his daughter, showed up late. She flew in the next evening, stayed 2 days, and complained the whole time about the cost of the casket. She made a big deal about Dad's finances, but didn't offer to help with anything. She flew back to Chicago and didn't look back. Roger never recovered. Not really. He lost weight. Stopped going out. I started checking in more. Dropped by every few days. Then every day. Before I knew it, I was shopping for him, cooking for him, managing his appointments. Monica called maybe once a month. Sometimes not at all. When his kidneys started failing in 2022, he tried to handle things on his own at first. He was stubborn like that. But dialysis wore him down fast. I took a leave from work. Moved into the house full-time. Monica sent one card. No call. No visit. "You're the only one who hasn't walked away," he told me once. I didn't respond. I just kept chopping vegetables for dinner. It wasn't about money. Not for me. I wasn't expecting anything. I was just trying to make sure the man who stood by my mom wasn't left to die alone. He passed away on a Thursday. I was in the room, sitting beside him. He squeezed my hand, and then he was gone. Quiet. No pain. Just gone. I called Monica. Told her gently. She didn't cry. Just said she'd drive in the next day. The funeral was small. Roger had a few old friends from the plant. Some neighbors. 1 or 2 cousins. Monica came in wearing a designer coat, heels too high for a graveyard. She didn't say a word to me. When the pastor asked if anyone wanted to speak, Monica stood up and walked to the mic. She looked out at the small crowd and said, "My father wasn't perfect, but he always meant well. I just wish he'd shown more love to the people who actually deserved it." Then she turned and stared straight at me. Everyone turned too. It felt like ice crawled over my skin. I didn't react. I didn't even flinch. I just looked down at my hands. After the service, we all went to the lawyer's office. His name was Jeff. He was young, kind of nervous-looking, probably not used to drama. We sat in silence until he opened the will. To my beloved stepdaughter, Jeff read, who gave her time, her care, and her heart when I needed it most. I leave the house, the savings, and all of my belongings. Monica snapped up. "Excuse me." Jeff kept going. "To my daughter Monica, I leave my coin collection and a letter. She stood up. That's it? That's it? This is fraud. She manipulated him. I didn't say anything at first. Just opened my phone. I had a video. One I'd recorded 2 months before, at his request. I hit play. There was Roger, pale but clear-eyed, sitting in his chair. He looked straight into the camera and said, "If you're seeing this, I'm probably gone." And if Monica's saying she was cut out unfairly, she wasn't. She never came. She never helped. Dana was the one who was here. Every day. She's the only one who showed up. The room was dead quiet. Monica didn't say another word. She grabbed her purse and stormed out. No goodbye. No tears. Nothing. That silence? That was the real eulogy. After Monica stormed out of the lawyer's office, I sat there, stunned. Not because of the outburst. Not even because of what Roger had left me. But because of what came next. Jeff, the lawyer, cleared his throat. "There's one more thing." I turned to look at him. "There's a clause," he said, flipping to the last page. Roger asked that I not read it unless Monica contested the will. I blinked. She did. He nodded and pulled out a smaller envelope. "Then I have to show you both this letter." "I don't care what's in it," I said. She already left. But Jeff shook his head. He was clear. She has to read this. Against my better judgment, I told him to go ahead and mail it to her. I figured that was the end of it. It wasn't. 2 days later, Monica came back. I was sitting on Roger's porch. Well, I guess my porch now, drinking cold coffee when her silver Lexus pulled up. She stepped out wearing sunglasses, even though it was cloudy. She didn't come to the door. She walked straight to the edge of the porch and said, "That letter was a lie." I stood. "He wrote it. It's in his handwriting. You turned him against me." I laughed. Not loud. Just tired. "You didn't need my help for that. You did it yourself." She stepped closer. "You don't deserve this house. You're not even blood." I looked at her, steady. "Neither is love." She stared at me like she wanted to slap me. But then she said something I didn't expect. "He left out the pension." I frowned. "What are you talking about?" She pulled out a folder. He had a pension from the plant. "It's not in the will." That stopped me. I hadn't thought about it. I'd been so focused on his care, the funeral, everything. I hadn't even considered whether there was a pension. "He retired with 38 years, she said. "There's a survivor benefit. And legally, as his daughter, I'm entitled to a portion." I didn't respond. Because I didn't know. She smiled, like she'd won something. "I'm not done fighting." That's when I started digging. The next morning, I called Roger's old union rep, a man named Carl, who remembered me from the time I helped drive Roger to a retiree event. I explained what was going on. He sighed. "Roger filled out the paperwork a few months before he died. Named as survivor." My heart pounded. "Who?" Carl paused. "Didn't name his daughter. Just says Dana Carpenter." "That's you, right?" "Yes," I said quietly. "There's a monthly payout," he said. "Not much, but it's yours." I thanked him and hung up. That same day, Monica left me a voicemail. Her voice was high and shaky. "I talked to a lawyer," she said. "You better hope you dotted every damn I, because I'm coming after what's mine." Then she did something that pushed it even further. She filed a petition in probate court. Accused me of elder abuse and coercion. Said I isolated Roger, undermined the family relationship, and influenced a dying man for financial gain. I had to get a lawyer. It cost me most of my savings, but I had proof. I had texts, voicemails, the video, witnesses, neighbors who saw me lifting him in and out of the car, nurses who watched me feed him soup when his hands were too shaky to hold a spoon. Still, it dragged on for weeks. And then I found something else. In the back of Roger's closet, behind an old shoebox, was a letter. It was addressed to me. I hadn't seen it before. In his shaky handwriting, he'd written, "If Monica turns this into a fight, Let her. You have the truth. I'm not sorry for the choices I made. I just hope you never let her make you feel small. She chose absence. You chose care. That's all the court should need to know. I took that letter to court. And that's when the case cracked wide open. The court date came faster than I expected. Monica showed up in all black again, like she was dressing for another funeral. She had a new lawyer this time, older guy, sharp suit, smug face. Mine was younger, but solid. A guy named Brian who'd handled estate disputes before. The courtroom wasn't packed, but enough people were there to make it tense. Some of Roger's neighbors had shown up to support me. Even Carl, the old union rep, was there in the back. Monica sat across from me at the other table, arms crossed, eyes full of something between fury and confidence. She looked like she thought this was a sure thing. Then her lawyer stood up and started throwing every word he could at me. Manipulation. Exploitation. Undue influence. Said I inserted myself into Roger's life after my mother died to seize control. Then he dropped a bomb. He claimed that Monica had a second version of the will, one she found on her father's old laptop. My lawyer glanced at me. I shook my head. This was the first I'd heard of it. The judge looked at Monica's lawyer. You're saying there's another will? He nodded. It names Monica as sole heir. It's dated 4 months before the one you've seen. I whispered to Brian, that's impossible. Roger had already started dialysis then. That's when he told me he wanted to change it. Monica's lawyer submitted a copy. The judge took it, asked where the original was. There is no original, Monica's lawyer admitted. The file was digital. No hard copy? The judge asked. No, Your Honor. But it's clearly from Roger's account on his laptop. It was found just last week. Just last week. That's when I knew she was trying to forge her way back into the will. My lawyer stood and asked if we could verify the document. The judge agreed. A digital forensics team was brought in. Meanwhile, I kept doing what I always did, showing up with receipts. I gave them emails, voicemail messages, text chains, even logs from the hospice nurse. And of course, the letter from Roger. His real words. Days later, the forensics report came in. The second will Monica had submitted? It had been created using a free online will generator. And the laptop's hard drive showed the file was created 3 weeks after Roger had passed away. She'd faked it. When that came out, Monica turned on her own lawyer in court. She told me to do it. She shouted, pointing at me. She said if I didn't fight, I'd be left with nothing. The courtroom froze. Her lawyer turned pale. The judge leaned forward. Excuse me. Monica's voice cracked. I was grieving. I didn't mean. The judge banged his gavel. That's enough. And just when I thought it was over, another twist hit. A few days after the court declared the fake will invalid and reaffirmed the original one, I got a call from Brian. You might want to sit down, he said. I did. He told me someone else had come forward. Roger had an estranged brother, someone I'd never heard of. Lived out in West Virginia. Apparently, Roger used to send him money every now and then. Not much, just a couple hundred here or there. But now this brother was claiming he had rights to Roger's estate. Said that since Monica had been disinherited and I was only a step relative, the bloodline should go to him. I felt sick. Is this legal? I asked. Brian sighed. It's a stretch. But if the court thinks Roger was mentally unfit when he made the will, or if they believe Monica wasn't fairly excluded, they might entertain the argument. Especially if the brother claims you pressured Roger to cut him out, too. So now I had to fight someone I'd never even met. Someone who hadn't been to the funeral, hadn't sat with Roger, hadn't even spoken to him in years, but wanted a cut because we shared no blood. I didn't sleep that night. I stood in Roger's old bedroom, looking at the photo he kept by his nightstand of him and my mom on their wedding day. The frame was a little dusty, but I didn't move it. And I swore to myself, this fight's not over. You didn't raise your voice when Monica took the mic at your funeral. So now I will. I knew I had to go all the way now. Monica was out of the picture legally, at least for the moment, but this mysterious brother, Earl, was trying to come for everything Roger left me. A man I had never seen, never heard mentioned. And now he wanted the house I cooked in, cleaned in, cried in. The house where I sat by Roger's bedside and wiped the sweat off his face while he died. Earl filed a formal petition. Claimed Roger had promised to leave something to him. He said he had emails. Said he had a voicemail too. Claimed it was proof Roger didn't mean to leave me everything. It dragged into another court date. My lawyer Brian dug deep. We found out Earl had been in and out of trouble for years. Bank fraud, skipped child support, even once tried to fake a disability claim. He wasn't just some forgotten family member. He was a career manipulator. But his lawyer was slick. Claimed that Roger had dementia when he changed his will. Claimed I cut off Roger's blood family and inserted myself as a caregiver just to gain control of his estate. It was the same tactic Monica tried, but this time it hit harder. Because unlike Monica, Earl didn't blow up in court. He sat there in a worn flannel shirt, looking like some poor old man who got pushed out of his brother's life. That's when I almost lost. The judge ordered a psych evaluation report on Roger from the final months of his life. The report came back complicated. It showed Roger was cognitively declining, but still capable of making informed decisions. Barely enough to keep the will intact. But just enough doubt to let Earl's lawyer squeeze in. Then the voicemail Earl submitted was played in court. It was Roger's voice. Shaky, but his. Earl, I don't know if you'll ever hear this. I wanted to tell you, things ain't right with me. Just wanted to say thanks for all the times you had my back. If anything happens, take care of yourself. That was it. No promises. No mention of money. But the tone, it made him sound guilty. Sad. Earl's lawyer spun it hard. You hear that? That's a man who didn't feel right cutting off his family. A man who felt pressured. Manipulated. The judge didn't look at me. I felt my stomach drop. I went home that night and sat at Roger's desk. That old desk where he used to pay his bills with a calculator and a pen, writing everything out by hand. And that's when I found something I hadn't seen before. In the bottom drawer, stuck between two folders, was a small notebook. One of those wire-bound things he used to keep car mileage or grocery lists. I opened it. Inside were pages and pages of journal entries. Scribbles. Dates. Notes about his dialysis. Things I'd said. Things Monica didn't do. And on one page, circled in red pen, were the words, "Changed will today. Monica hasn't called in 9 weeks. Dana brought soup and sat with me all night. Not blood, but she's the only one who stayed." We took it to court. Handwriting analysis confirmed it was his. The judge read it quietly, then looked up. "I see no reason to invalidate the will," he said. Earl stood up and slammed his hand on the table. "That bastard owed me. I needed that money." The judge narrowed his eyes. "That's not how wills work, Mr. Carpenter." It was over. Finally, Earl stormed out just like Monica had. No goodbyes. No closure. But it wasn't clean for me either. Because when I got home that day, I stood in Roger's kitchen and cried. Not because I'd won. But because I realized what all of it had cost me. I'd lost time. My job. My peace. And maybe I had made a mistake. Not in taking care of Roger, but in letting his silence be my shield. I should have spoken up sooner. I let Monica take the mic and shame me. I let Earl drag Roger's memory through the mud. I stayed quiet, thinking the truth would protect itself. It didn't. You have to fight for it. And now I have a house, a pension, and a will in my name. But I also have a scar no one can see. Sometimes revenge doesn't come from screaming or fighting back. Sometimes it comes from standing firm, saying nothing, and watching the ones who tried to tear you down fall apart under their own lies. Roger once told me, "Some people show up when it's easy. You showed up when it was hell." That's what I hold on to. Because in the end, Monica and Earl both lost more than money. They lost the chance to say goodbye with dignity. They lost the chance to make peace. And I got the truth. All of it. In his handwriting.